Hi friends, my name's Trish Roberts. I wanted to share my thoughts about veganism. So you've probably heard a lot of different things about veganism, and they're probably all fairly inaccurate, because veganism is an ethical position which rejects using animals for food, clothing, entertainment, and other reasons. So it's an ethical position. It's not a diet. It's not a health fad. It's not a way of getting skinny. It's not something that's optional. If you have an ethical position, you adopt it fully, just like if you're against racism, you would completely reject racism. If you're against heterosexism, you would completely reject heterosexism. If you are against classism, you reject classism. That's what veganism is. It's a rejection of speciesism. And speciesism is a position which otherizes non-human animals, meaning that because they're another species, we've decided over thousands of years that they are here to be used as resources. Well, that's incorrect, really. They're just fellow sentient beings, just like we are on the planet, who love life and do not want to die. They love life. If you've ever lived with a cat or a dog, you know that cats and dogs enjoy their life. They love they show affection towards you. They have likes and dislikes. They show sentience, and so there's nothing different between, say, a cat and a dog whom we live with, and the animals that we have on our plates, that we drink their secretions, etc. They're no different from pigs, cows, sheep, etc. They're all sentient beings. It's just that we've decided to fetishize some, meaning fetishize dogs and cats and dolphins and whales, etc. And it's completely arbitrary. And we've decided that other animals are to be bred into existence by the billions and used as resources, as things. But just because we've decided that doesn't mean that any of them should be used as property. So that's the first thing, and we've been indoctrinated to believe this for, like thousands of years. And when we were born, we were told, we were read nice little stories about farm animals, and, and that they're happy animals on farms. We don't find out what happens to them at the end. They're killed, or that their children are taken from them if they're dairy animals. And if they're male calves, they're usually killed because male calves are no use to the dairy industry. These happy animal farms, so-called happy animal farms, are still exploiting sentient animals as resources. But that's what we're told when we're young, that there's these happy little farms with happy little animals all talking to one another. And meanwhile, our mum and our father and mother, or whoever our parents happen to be, are sitting us down to eat these sentient animals. So it's really sort of a very, very strange thing. We're indoctrinated to think that some animals are here for us to use, and other animals are here for us to fetishize and think, aren't they wonderful, and we'll live with them, and they can sleep with us on the bed, etc. So, that's the confusion that we're fed, the moral confusion that we're fed when we, when we are born into this world. That's these, just because they're a different species, that means that we can just use them, and that's the same thing when we're indoctrinated to believe other races are not equal to us, morally equal. We think that they're lesser, and, that we otherize them. So that's why I say that veganism is an ethical position, because it rejects using animals for food. That's dairy, meat, eggs, honey, etc., clothing, that's leather, wool, fur, silk, entertainment, zoos, circuses, etc., and other reasons. We don't need to use animal products to survive. We can easily meet all our nutrition requirements from plants and other non-animal sources. So the only reason we're breeding 1 trillion land and aquatic animals into existence and to torture them is for trivial reasons of habit, tradition, convenience, and palate pleasure, basically. It's morally unjustifiable. So I've been vegan for 12 years now, but I was a late bloomer, really. I didn't find any information online until I was 45, and I saw this information about the dairy industry, and I was appalled. I had no idea. I'd never thought about it. But the dairy industry takes male calves away from their mothers and takes them to a slaughterhouse at 1 and 2 days old. They can hardly walk. They're crying for their mothers. Their mothers are bellowing and crying for their children, and they kill those male calves. And the same with the egg industry. Egg industries usually throw male chicks alive into big grinders, or they throw them into bins to suffocate. So, and this is the thing, any of these industries, whether they're little mom and pop farms or these large so-called free-range facilities, they're just big barns with windowless barns where animals are able to move a little bit between one another, but they still end up suffering greatly, and in the end, when they're not productive, then they're killed. So there's no such thing as humane animal exploitation. There's no such thing as that. We only tell ourselves that so we can continue to use animals. There's no such thing as happy animal slavery. So this is the message that veganism is. Veganism is not about meat-free Mondays or happy animal slavery or humane products, the 5-step humane animal products. It's not about reducitarianism or flexitarianism. Any ethical position, if we are actually adopting an ethical position, means that we reject that form of slavery, that form of exploitation outright. We don't make little leeways here and there, or eat little bits of cheese now and then because, it's convenient or it's inconvenient or whatever. We reject the exploitation of sentient beings, period. And that's what an ethical position is. So you've probably heard a lot of things about veganism that are a distortion of it. It's not hard, it's not a sacrifice, and it's completely healthy. If you want to find out more about how to go vegan, I have a podcast called howtogovegan.org, and I invite you to check that out. It's a very it will help you with the ethical position, because once you've internalized the ethical position, you'll never go back. And believe me, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. It truly is, and that's why I talk about it whenever I can, and I hope that you will check out howtogovegan.org for further information. And I just quickly say, when I did find that information online about the dairy industry, I had to go vegan straight away, because I realized that if they do that in the dairy industry, they're certainly probably doing that in all industries. They're taking calves away from their mothers and either enslaving them if they're female calves, or killing them if they're male calves. And there's lots of other awful things that they do to animals in the dairy industry. And slaughterhouses are a horror house, and they all wind up in a slaughterhouse, whether they're from the dairy farm or they're bred for whatever reason. Most of them end up in the slaughterhouse. And if you've ever been to a slaughterhouse, it's a horror house. There's no such thing as humane murder. There really isn't. So I ask you to please consider that, and please check out my podcast, howtogovegan.org. I don't make any money from talking about veganism. I just want you to go vegan, because it's the non-violent thing to do, it's the just thing to do, it's the morally right thing to do. So thank you for watching. My name's Trish Roberts. You can check out my, I have a YouTube channel called Faint Signals from Vega, which not only talks about veganism, but it talks about anti-war, anti-imperialism. I invite you to check that out on YouTube. You can find that at youtube.com/Vegan Trove. That's VEGANTROVE. And if you're on Facebook, you can find me at facebook.com/Vegan Trove Extra. That's VEGANTROVEEXTRA. So my name's Trisha Roberts. Thanks so much for watching. Till next time, bye for now.